Hey guys, Marsinger here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to take a look at the EZA for physical Dragon Ball Super Broly. I'm expecting some good things. I know he's been clowned on quite a bit in the community, like compared to Gogeta's EZA obviously seems a lot better, but I do think Broly can be pretty good. So he has a full 170 for movie bosses and full power as his leader skill. His super attack is that he greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, does supreme damage to the all enemies, so he's an AoE still, obviously, didn't change that. Key +6, attack and defense 150, additional attack and defense 120%, and launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super when facing only 1 enemy. So that is a pretty big buff to be getting against 1 enemy, an extra 120% attack and defense. He gets 150 if it's 2 enemies, as well as a guaranteed additional super. So against 2 enemies, little bit of extra stats and a guaranteed additional. Whereas against 1 enemy, he's just getting a guaranteed attack that has a 50% chance to be a super. So he still could be very good. And then he transforms when conditions are met, which is on turn 4. So I'm going to leave him on turn 1 just so we can see what he does on this rotation. I'm going to leave this cooler here because Broly is on transformation boost, which is why he gets the 200% leader skill from LR Final Form cooler. And that means he's getting the support from the EZA cooler here. So he's doing a just under 5 million attack stat on turn 1 with the support. Now the thing is, it's one of the reasons why Raditz was so disappointing, is when it comes to AoE units, I'm not, you know, too mad if they're not doing the craziest attack stats. Like cooler here on turn 1, higher attack stat. Now obviously he's got way more links active because he's next to Final Form cooler, including big bad bosses. So I think actually technically Broly's attack was higher because Cooler has so many links active. But as I was saying, he hits every enemy, so you can kind of understand them making his attack a little bit weaker. And that's why I say Raditz was so disappointing, because he does an AoE, but he still doesn't hit hard regardless anyway. It's very disappointing, but Broly putting out that kind of attack stat turn 1, it's not too bad. Obviously with the raising attack and defense on super, if he doubles supers, then obviously he's looking really, really good on that turn in terms of both attack and defense. So let's do this. We'll get as many attacks in with the Final Form coolers as we can. One of them will probably just end up floating because I do want to use Tech Janemba's support ability as well. I'm going to get Raditz on rotation with Broly. Now, obviously in red zone stages, Turles isn't as good because you're not fighting a super type enemy, which means he's not providing the 40% defensive support, but he still is very good. He's got a couple of extra Saiyan links, because I think the biggest problem with this Broly is the fact that you want to run him on like a movie boss's team. Like Pure Saiyans is probably going to be one of his better teams. He just doesn't have a 200% lead under any of those kind of team builds, because Broly's biggest issue is the fact that because he's a Broly, he has Saiyan unit links, and then most of the rest of the movie boss's team is just not Saiyans, right? Because obviously the only movie boss characters that are Saiyans are both variations of Broly, whether it's Z or Super, and then Turles, and that's it. So obviously that means it's a little bit harder to get good rotation partners for him. STR LR Broly's kind of outdated now, especially for like red zone content. You know, when it comes to single bosses, he's not really doing all that much offensively or defensively anymore, unfortunately. And then units like Tech LR Broly, like pretty much unusable till he gets an EZA, and they can't link until one of them transforms. So bit awkward, but Broly definitely looks like he can still be good. I mean, he tanked that super attack. After a double super, he tanked the super for double-digit damage, which is pretty good. We're not doing a lot of damage on this stage. Hopefully I didn't end up bringing a team build that's all Key Blast supers. I always forget that when I go into this stage. But I know Metal Cooler and Final Form Cooler will be all good, so they're going to have to carry the run, I guess. And I think Turles doesn't count either, because Turles does attack them with melee attacks first before doing the key thing on the floor. I think that's a great super attack animation as well. We just blast them on the floor. Be cool if we ever get like a new Turles. I know it's hard for them to like constantly do new Turles units because it's not like they have a wealth of animations and stuff to draw from, but I would appreciate like an updated version like of the AGL Turles, like Dokkan Attack, because I think his animation is decent enough for how old it is, but like the attack itself I think is really cool. So him getting a new unit, like imagine that with the when he does the like thing where he blasts him on the floor, having like a zoom in of like Turles' face with like a sort of upward camera angle. They could even have the hands like pointing down like in the shot. Like, I think an updated Turles with that attack, but with, you know, now we're in 2023 levels of animation quality, I think a new Turles would be awesome. And then, of course, it would benefit Broly for those extra links. So, alright, so we're going to transform now on turn 4. Again, with Broly, just like Gogeta, you could, if you wanted to, if he's on turn 1, float him off in slot 3, because then he'll come back on turn 4. And then, of course, see, we get Prepared for Battle and Saiyan Warrior Race. So, what are we actually getting? So, Saiyan Warrior Race, we get 10% extra attack, and then Prepared for Battle is obviously 2 key and 5% attack and defense. So, we're getting an extra 15% attack and 5% defense. So, he's at 300k start of turn. So, the only problem is he's just not really a slot 1 unit, right? Because even after transforming, so he now raises attack and defense for 1 turn. Unfortunate that it was greatly raises before he transforms and now it's only normal raise. But the reason for that, he does immense damage, because obviously before he did supreme damage to all enemies. He does immense damage, he gets 200% attack and defense, he launches an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. Then he gets 200% attack and 100% defense when facing only 1 enemy. He gets 120 attack and defense when there's 2 enemies. He launches an additional super attack starting from the turn in which the character performs the 3rd super. So once he supers 3 times, he gets a guaranteed additional super on top of everything else. So if you do get the God RNG, which I'm hoping for in this turn, he can super attack 3 times anyway straight out the gate. So, of course, we get super attacked in slot 1. How much is this going to do? 284k. Okay, it's quite a bit, but, I mean, the team has 710k HP. And then, yeah, look at that. 8.7 million. He is obviously getting the support from Turles and Cooler, but that is a pretty significant amount. And then, can we get any additional supers? Well, we didn't get any at all. Great. Nice. Alright, so he still needs to super attack 2 more times to get that full buff. It's always unfortunate when you have these RNG type units. Like Int Broly is another one that springs to mind for always being very similar. He can look like an absolute monster if you're getting 3 or even the God like 4 supers on 1 turn. But then sometimes he does like 1 super and 2 additional normals or something, and obviously doesn't look anywhere near as good in that scenario. So this is the rotation that I wanted to get set up. So now we can use the coolers together. We're not getting the support from Janemba, but that's fine. I guess I'm only really bothered about getting the support on the turns where we have Broly, because I want to see him getting that extra support. So I do think his biggest issue on the movie bosses team, at least, right, the teams where he's going to be, I guess, most useful, or at least where he's getting his 200% leader skill, his issue is having good units to link with. Specifically like slot 1 units as well. But one thing I could definitely see this Broly being pretty good for is just being a floating unit on the movie bosses team, because for the first turn he does a decent enough attack stat, and then, you know, you float him off, he transforms, comes back, and then starts putting out some pretty crazy numbers. So this is now him with just Turles, no extra support. He's got 262k defense. So, I mean, his start of turn defense definitely is not it. But obviously we're against an int enemy here, so it's a little bit less risky to put him in slot 1. And then we're just below 8 million. Can you give me at least 1 more super so we get the 3 supers in this turn? Because that's what we really want to see. Plus the next super will push us above 8 mil. He's not going to do it, is he? Oh my god. Are you actually kidding me? So the funny thing is, I'm recording this showcase to go up I recorded the red zone runs on the 2 new stages on my stream where I did the EZAs for these guys. And I used them on the teams because obviously with them being the new units, right, just getting their EZAs, I wanted to test them out in the new stages. But I technically recorded them first, and I'm now recording this showcase afterwards. And I'm pretty sure, like, the first turn that we had, the physical Broly, I think he, like, triple supered. And now that we're in his actual, like, solo showcase for him to show off what he can do, he's super attacking once, normal attacking once, and then he's done for the turn, apparently. So, a little bit disappointing, but I guess it is what it is. Metal Cooler getting fully built up here. No key support for him, or any support, because, of course, he is not on Transformation Boost, so he doesn't get the support from STR, EZA Cooler, but Final Form Cooler in the middle now with all this support, yeah, and a full 24 key as well. He's gonna finish off this guy pretty easily. Yep, there we go. Alright, so this is going to be a tricky one now for Broly because we got an STR enemy. So I'm going to do this. If we get super attacked on Broly, I assume that we probably die, but I guess it is what it is. We're going to get the Dokkan attack with Turles here as well, so actually I don't need the damage reduction for Janemba because he's not getting attacked. So level 3 dodge, okay. 38k on the normals for Turles. I mean, Turles is another unit who is obviously better defensively after supering. So the fact that Nova hasn't supered yet does worry me a little bit. This is where we want to get Broly to get as many supers as possible because he's going to need as much defense as possible if he has a chance of surviving a super attack from Nova here. So we'll see what happens. We should get a full heal off the Dokkan attack though, so as long as we do survive, we should be looking good. But 8.4 million for the first one. And let's see. Come on, let's get these additionals, Broly. Alright, there we go. So up to 8.7. So I think it kicks in on the same turn. So I think we could actually get the 4 supers turn on this turn if we get good RNG. See, if that was that the hidden potential or was that the passive one? I guess we'll find out with what happens next. But he's now up to 9 million. So that's triple super so far. Come on, one more. Let's go. All right, 9.4. So he started off slow, but we got the quad super turn in the video. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. Now, he should tank normals for double digits. Yep, perfect. Now, I kind of want him to super, because even if we die... see, even if we were going to die there, I would have quite liked to see how much damage he was going to take. But yeah, there you go. Broly doing 4 super attacks that ranged from 8.5 to 9.5 million. So he put out quite a lot of damage on that turn. So let's see. I guess we want to... The friend cooler. Actually, wait, no. Yeah, it's my cooler is the most built up. So let's do this. You know what? Let's just throw off the animation. Let's active skill. Because if it crits, he just dies. Oh, so close. What about Metal Cooler's one? Will that crit and kill him? He has to crit, though. Yeah, stupid type disadvantage. Either of the active skills critting, and we probably would have been GG there. So hopefully he doesn't super attack Cooler in slot 1. He's got decent defense for the start of the turn, but I would still appreciate him not getting super attacked. Alright, perfect. So yeah, he's going to be GG'd out of here. 11 million, very nice. So yeah, Broly, he definitely looks good on his good turns. The problem is going to be when you're getting the not good turns. And the fact that, like we said, he's not really good in slot 1. He's just got locked in slot 2. So, I mean, I guess we'll do this so we keep the support from Cooler, who's at 540k defense now. Turles only has to take 1 attack and is getting his defense buff. So, I mean, the rotation actually plays out pretty nicely like this. And since Broly's getting floated off, this seems like the perfect last turn for the showcase. So I guess we'll see how many supers he can do this turn. So I think if they really wanted to make him busted and make him at least on the level, I think this would put him on the level of Gogeta. Maybe just below, I don't know. But once he transformed, he should just infinitely stack attack and defense. Because you think about that turn where we did 4 super attacks. And so then at the start of this turn, his defense would potentially be high enough that he wouldn't be a huge risk to put in slot 1. Like, he would actually be insanely good. But there you go. There's the passive one in converting into the super. Then we also get the guaranteed additional super. And then we have the hidden potential one to go off as well. So I think a good mix for this Broly is crit and additional, but more so to crit. You do want a little bit of additional, because every time he does one of these guaranteed attacks, it increases the likelihood that it's going to proc that additional. But you do definitely want it to go off, so I wouldn't recommend, like, because he's a physical unit, so he gets 5 additional anyway. I wouldn't leave him at 5 additional, but I do think he is very, very good. So I think we're going to end it there. We're obviously going to win this turn, unless, I mean, Janemba could, I guess, get blasted by a super in slot 1, but even then he's probably not going to die. So yeah, that was the physical Broly EZA. He's interesting for sure. We actually are getting blasted by a super. He's interesting for sure. On his best turns, he definitely looks very good. So it'll be interesting to see. The problem with being a physical unit as well is Omega's not really all that anymore. There's not a really hard, like, int boss, and so he's going to be type neutral against the Metal Cooler Core. Type neutral against Red Zone Broly. The AoE phase has type advantage over him, which is also kind of awkward. So he's in a bit of a weird place, but he is a solid unit. We just need a really good new Broly or Turles for him to link with, especially if they're a slot 1 unit, and then he'll be really, really good. But he's definitely nowhere near Gogeta level, but I've seen people saying that he's just straight up, like, bad, which I don't think he's quite that bad, but he's certainly not as impressive as Gogeta. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.